We learned this week that not absolutely everything is necessarily what it looks like.
Ooh, I can't wait to see where this goes.
Okay. Tell me more.
Let's see where this goes.
Please enjoy the generic German Oompa music. It is scene setting and that. We learned this valuable lesson about waiting until the facts were in before leaping to conclusions from the Bavarian settlement of Schwabach. Big hello to all our listeners in Schwabach.
Hello!
We learned that residents of a particular apartment block in Schwabach had been deprived of their slumbers by persistent ringing of their doorbells late at night. Exactly. We learned that suspicion had fallen upon local rapscallions playing Klingelstreich, the German variant of that hugely amusing game involving ringing a doorbell, then running away. Throw a blanket on the producer, they're on fire. We learned, however, that the actual culprit was a slug. Sliding back and forth along the bell plate, let's see how the producer goes with this. Amazing. But we also learned that some things absolutely are what they look like. We learned this actually technically late last week, but it's hardly our goddamn fault if insurgent populist cults start their party conferences on a Friday afternoon. For we learned something of what awaits the United Kingdom the other side of the next general election, if opinion polls are any guide.
I'm an insomniac, staring at the ceiling.
We learned, for starters, from the party conference of Reform UK, the symposium to which we allude, that Dame Andrea Jenkins, Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire, fancies herself as a singer-songwriter, which in fairness is no more or less daft than her fancying herself as Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire. We learned when the music mercifully ceased, however, that branching out further into stand-up comedy or indeed any discipline related to saying things out loud in public would be ill-advised.
Labour government, in their recent rounds of transport funding, have bypassed both Luke and I and our areas, but instead chose to give the funding to the Labour Metro mayors. How about booing?
You'd need to wake them up first. Tough crowd, etc. We learned, however, that Dame Andrea was not really the luminary in whose aura Reform UK supporters had schlepped to Birmingham to bask.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give the warmest of welcomes
to Lucy Connolly!
We learned that the worthy personage who Reform UK's core support of law and order enthusiasts would rise to applaud was someone recently released from prison after serving 40% of a 31-month stretch for inciting racial hatred, specifically using her social media account to urge the burning down of hotels housing migrants, to which she pled guilty, and /Butt, who is now being styled by Britain's more excitable conservative tendencies as basically Nelson Mandela.
The sheer injustice she has suffered has shocked millions of people across Britain and indeed across the whole world. She's a wonderful mum, wife, beloved childminder, little kids from every corner of the earth she's taken wonderful care of. So I am, of course, referring to Britain's favourite political prisoner.
Which, you may be shocked to learn, wait for it, was not quite the most surprising thing we learned at Reform UK's conference.
It's highly likely that the COVID vaccines have been a significant factor in the cancer of members of the royal family.
Sure, why not? Still, despite what the polls appear to be trying to tell us, we, for one humorous news monologue, are not concerned about where all this might be leading, as if we've learned one thing from the recent history of the world, it is that the citizens of a prosperous, functional and orderly democracy and generally admired nation would never be so foolish and credulous and self-defeating as to voluntarily entrust the sombre responsibilities of national government to a rabble of obvious quacks quacks, charlatans, crooks and weirdos, led by someone from whom you would not purchase double glazing.
The president did not write that letter. He did not sign those documents. He maintains that position.
Yes, we learned more about the awkwardly and indeed increasingly well-documented friendship between US President Donald Trump and the late sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. We learned, and to be honest, kind of admire House Speaker Mike Johnson for giving this line a whirl, that Trump was not, despite what appearances may well suggest, a compadre and or customer of Epstein, but was instead all along nobly risking the tarnishing of his own gleaming reputation to unravel Epstein's racket from within.
He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
So we would appear to have learned that despite the Jeffrey Epstein saga being a
Democrat hoax that never ends,
the FBI had nevertheless at one maddeningly unspecified point sent the future President of the United States undercover to gather information on the figure at the center of this thing which was not happening. Or, and bear with us, we learned that
the other documents released by the House Oversight Committee contained a photo of Jeffrey Epstein holding an oversized check that was made out to him from the president. I wondered if the president has any recollection of that, or what do you guys make of that photo that was included in those documents?
Did you see the signature on that check? It is not Donald Trump's signature.
Yes, we learned that the Democratic Party's Dirty Tricks Division had decided 22 years ago to forge the signature of the host of imminent NBC game show The Apprentice, who was at the time a registered Democrat and a donor to Hillary Clinton, on a deeply unsavory birthday greeting to a child trafficking pimp, had somehow secreted it among Jeffrey Epstein's effects in anticipation of his untimely demise in murky circumstances 16 years later, and had then waited until Trump had not only run for and won the Republican nomination for the White House 3 times, but been twice elected president before releasing it. All sounds entirely plausible when you put it like that, am I right?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
For Monocle Radio, I'm Andrew Mueller.